Hello. We went to the other house for 2 days and I finished reading the biography about David Foster Wallace, very well written by D.T. Max, with the title A Love Story is Also a Ghost Story. This is something that David had said to his friends, and I want to read you a quote that he has in his book that I wrote down on this paper. Quote from David Foster Wallace on boredom. Maybe dullness is associated with psychic pain because something that's dull or opaque fails to provide enough stimulation to distract people from some other, deeper type of pain that is always there, if only in an ambient, low-level way, and which most of us spend nearly all our time and energy trying to distract ourselves from feeling, or at least from feeling directly or with our full attention. So I think this is very good quote from David. And he talked about boredom many times in interviews and also in his books through the characters. And I think boredom is probably, that is the main theme that goes through his life, and it resonates 100% with me, with my life, with my experience, with my emotional pain, and with my observations and with my revelations on what boredom actually is. So he had exactly the same thoughts and ideas on what boredom actually is as I have come to realize. And so boredom is not a neutral state. I talked about this also in previous videos about this, but I think it's a very important subject. Boredom is not neutral. Boredom is not something that is where you're just in a state where you don't know what to do. You're just hanging out there, you're chilling or something, and you're feeling kind of good, you just don't know what to do. That's not what boredom is. Chilling and lounging is feeling good, is feeling relaxed, is recuperating. Boredom is when something actually bores its way up to the surface, a pain from the past, childhood pain, a feeling, a fear that this could be repeated in your present day life. A fear comes up, a nagging fear, a pain, a memory, a dull memory. You can't really put your finger on it. It doesn't really have a specific characteristics. It doesn't have a face, It's like, it's just some kind of gut feeling in the solar plexus, some kind of doomy, gloomy, weird, strange thing, some pain, and if we dig deeper, if we go into meditation with this thing will come up. It will bore its way up, If it's halfway up, we go, I'm bored. I want to do something to distract myself. That's exactly what it is. Halfway up, we go, oh, I better run. I better distract myself. I better do something with my life. I better get up from the couch, and that's what a lot of people say also to each other. Get off from the couch and do something, So that's the only advice they will give. The advice I will give is sit through this entire thing. Stay on that couch. It's like, keep your ass on the couch. And let this boredom bore its way all the way, not just halfway where you go, oh, I better run off. It's what Dr. Alan W. Anderson said to Jiddu Krishnamurti in Cal State San Diego when they were talking about facing this what wants to come up, when he says he observed that in his students, philosophy professor, talking about this, allowing this whatever doomy gloomy thing to come up, and we're just right before jumping down into the abyss of truth, but people, they will approach that abyss halfway, and then they turn around and they run back. And that's what happens. That's I have been through so many times. They approach this, and they think, I can't bear this. Of course we can bear this. We can sit down on this hard chair or the couch or wherever you're sitting or lounging, or you can lie down on the floor. You don't have to get up. You're there for a reason. This thing is coming up. This boredom is coming up like a corkscrew. It's coming up for a reason, because it wants to be heard. It wants to be listened to. It doesn't want you to go, oh, I'm bored. I better run away from the abyss, from the edge of that supposedly dangerous abyss that the ego thinks. The ego falls into the abyss. See, that's what it is. That's what Jiddu Krishnamurti has always been talking about. What is it actually that dies when someone dies? What is it that makes the person so afraid about it? Our biology, of course, it's built into us, but it's also the ego. The ego makes this into the ultimate struggle. The ego makes a drama out of it. The ego makes a drama out of the subject death in general. It's the ego, much more, because, and I tell you why that is, because there are people that will actually die so that the ego doesn't have to die, or that's how it feels to them in that moment. There are people, kamikaze, for example, there are people that will commit suicide as an act of, and they use the word honor that's attached. That's why for example, I try to completely stay away from that word honor. That word honor it has such negative connotations that I don't want to use it anymore. It has connotations of both shame and pride. And that's what we want to get rid of. We want to dissolve it. We want to dissolve shame and pride. We have no use for it in our lives. Seriously, we don't. Shame and pride, just two sides of the same coin, it's the same energy, is pain, and it's childhood pain. And that's what bores its way up into consciousness, because it just wants to be heard. It wants to talk to us. It's an energetic thing, that wants to free itself. It's also the inner child, full of that pain. So the inner child comes up, with the whole laundry bag or suitcase full of that pain. And that inner child says, here's all of this pain. I want you to look at it. I want you to listen to it, what it has to say, but halfway through, we run away from it. The actual danger, the actual abyss, like a bus coming towards us, or war breaking out, or a marriage being so conflicted that it ends, all kinds of things, or a person where the immune system quits, all because they have been running away from that thing that the ego is so afraid of. All of these problems and troubles all come only from one source, and that is from the ego making the person run away from the inner child with the suitcase of pain. So if we sit through this, if we allow ourselves to sit through this pain, then we can look at it and see it for what it is and not run away from it and not say to someone, I'm bored. They don't even know what it is. It's boring its way through. They don't even want to know what it is. So, but it's there and it wants to be heard. So let it bore its way through. Let it churn its way through the whole system and out. It will come out at the end of the tunnel. It will come out eventually. So, and we need to give it the chance to do this. I think this is very, very important. Before we escape into something, an escape route, escape mechanism of whatever people use. Some people use escape routes that go against themselves with drugs, with substances, cutting, all kinds of bad things. And some people go into the offensive and bully and hurt others. So. And the people that hurt others, they are very unaware about it. They hurt others in so many different ways that they're not even consciously aware about. So it sneaks its way always back in. It comes back through the most ignored trap and back doors. It sneaks its way back in, and the person thinks they are being peaceful and everything's good, but they have completely not even seen that the way they have just acted towards someone is actually going against the very fundamental life's foundation of how they themselves want to behave. So it goes against their own decisions of conduct, their own convictions of conduct. This is what happens, and all of this is very unconscious. This is super unconscious. And I think it is very important that we become honest to ourselves about these things. That's the most important thing. And that we also become honest to other people, even though that other person might use that against us. Then a lot of people that immediately, as soon as they see the slightest vulnerability in someone, they will turn it against that person. They will use it against the person, because they think that it's sort of it's almost like a trophy to them. It's like in a video game, they got points for their own ego or something. But life is not a video game. We're real sentient beings. And everyone has their story, and everyone has their pain. I have my pain, I have my vulnerabilities, I have ego too, it's always there, the pain is there, but I'm paying attention now to the ego. I'm looking it directly into the eyes, and I communicate with it. I say, what is it that you're so afraid of? What could happen, What could happen if I make a video? Someone could laugh, yeah. Okay. Is that my problem though? No, it's not my problem. Yes, I'm afraid. We're all afraid to be rejected and bullied and laughed about. We're afraid to alienate someone. We're afraid that we don't meet our own expectations that we have ourselves. We're afraid that we might come across as double standard. All these different things, all these different fears. But I think it is very important that this is the very first step at all, that we become honest to ourselves and to others. At least become honest, radically honest, towards those people that are in your immediate vicinity in life. The people, your life partners. Your life partners that could be non-sexual or sexual or romantic or this or that or whatever. could be your children, could be your co-workers, could be a business partner. That the most important thing is the people that you are really working with, that you are living with, that you are dealing with on a daily basis, that you become 100% radically honest with them. And not in a hurtful way, not in a way where you hurt someone's feelings. No, we have to be we have to be sensitive with each other. And the most important thing is that we are radically honest. If we are radically honest, that is being sensitive. That's not, if we are radically honest to ourselves, if we think that other person is smirking or something, then we need to be radically honest about that and not lash back in any kind of way, like the people do in the chat rooms. That's their. It's like a battleground. It's like a war zone on the internet in general. If I go into a store, it's a cold war sometimes. And particularly, well, if I don't have Donald Trump on my t-shirt and I go into a store, they don't know what my political affiliations are. So I avoid that situation, of course. There are people that will not even hold their composure in a store in person, when they see someone with anything that is provocative towards their political or world views. But most people, they sort of keep it in their pants, and on the internet, they let it out. They literally let that out of their pants. They literally do, and they talk about it. I don't understand why. Yeah, I don't get it. So, and they're also extremely violent. They're extremely oversexed and violent. And that's usually men between 20 and 60. So, particularly the younger ones. So, I'm not saying this as a judgment. I'm saying this only as an observation, and I think it is absolutely vital that every person, and I probably don't reach that demographic that I just talked about, they're probably, because they probably they're not willing to hear anything. They just want to be carried away and distracted at all times, sexually or with violence or with this or that, something that takes them away from the dullness of their childhood pain. But it's through really listening and looking at the childhood pain that we will become fully aware, that we can actually heal this. We can actually heal this stuff, this pain. And that is what I'm committed to do. I really am. That's the purpose of my life, is to not run away from it, as I have done so many times in my life, but to breathe and sit through this and let this come up and speak to me. What is it, that wants to speak to me? What kind of pain is it that wants to come up? Particularly, it's what I share with David Foster Wallace, is coming from this very convoluted, triple hidden academic pride that is wrapped in a packaging paper that has printed on it understatement. I don't know how else to say it, but that's exactly what it is. It is a triple or quadruple lie, but it's a lie to themselves. It's not a conscious lie. It's an unconscious lie that they live. That also is packed with pride and shame. Running away from shame, avoiding shame, avoidance mechanisms, and pride as a refuge. Pride to save the person from ever feeling the shame again. But it's the same energy, you know. We can't get away from it. It loops. It's the same energy. Pride is the same energy as shame. Okay. We need to heal this. We need to dissolve it. That has to become dissolved once and for all. And for that, we need therapy centers. We need to have public therapy centers where we offer all kinds of therapies, and where the main therapy is the group session where people come together. And I learned so much from Dr. Arthur Janov about this, so much about it. They have some problems in it. They got problems, but they don't know better. You know, I have studied this, I've thought about this in such depth in my life that I have come to quite a lot of clarity on how this therapy has to be conducted. I have a very clear insight in how this has to be conducted. I just want to use one example from the center. That was very interesting. There was an artist. I'm not going to mention names to protect them. There was an artist, quite known actually, a very good artist. He was carving sculptures out of wood. Very amazing man from Switzerland. And as a child, he was an orphan. I don't know what happened. He didn't didn't have his parents anymore. He was taken care of by foster parents or several foster parents, and there's a lot of pain that comes out of his childhood, a lot of pain. And his therapist was a woman from the United States who also was a foster child as a child. She never told him that, though. It's like, you missed your greatest opportunity to help him. Why didn't you tell him? So I saw this and it bothered me. And so I knew this about her because I had been in the center also before the guy was in the center. I was in the center when it was just for trainees. For legal purposes, he was only having a training center at that time. So then it opened up to also take in regular clients. And they had a psychiatrist on board. They had trained therapists who also had their counseling certificate for California. So then it all had its legalities, and they could take in clients. And Walter came. I didn't want to use the name, but okay. Anyway, he came to the center, and it's too bad one has to always do this hiding. So I don't want to have to redo the whole video now. So, but anyway, Walter is his name. But I'm gonna try not to say the name of the therapist. So, And so a wonderful, wonderful, great person, very sensitive. And he was struggling very much in that group session with his therapist and trying to get her to understand his pain and where he's coming from. So I finally said to him, Walter, the therapist, she was an orphan too when she was a baby. Maybe this information will help you to understand also her pain and where she's coming from, and maybe why she is acting right now in the way she is acting, because that too is an act out. Of course, it pissed her off so badly. She never talked to me again because her ego wanted to keep that hidden away, because she wanted to keep that facade going of, I am this therapist and I am above you and you and you, So kind of like, a hierarchical gap between her and the client right there. This is why the client has severe problems. That's why he gets into a struggle with her. He shouldn't be getting into struggle with her. She should be there 100% for him, and she should be there on eye level. And that's what I would do, right? Those are very fundamental, important insights that I gained through the mistakes that have been made at the center. I learned more from their mistakes than from what they did right, because the mistakes were so tremendously eye-opening. The moment I said that to Walter, his facial expression changed. He started to cry, he got red, everything softened up. And he went, oh, I didn't know that. She never told me. Now I understand. I understand why she's in such resistance now. And she went into more resistance, and she was pissed and angry. And it was her opportunity to now feel her pain. Maybe let me take over and help Walter in that moment. So, but they were so rigid about their position of this, this upper level, this plateau that they were sitting on. There was no way I could in any way loosen that up for them, particularly not after I exposed her to Walter. So it's a pity, because I like that woman very much. It's a pity that she has to go into this defensive, into this egoic state of mind, and not be able to let go of that. We cannot help people at all unless we become vulnerable, unless we open up. How can I help anyone with my videos if I don't show my face and my Frankenstein face and my, as I was accused, and if I don't show my wrinkles and the entire package, the entire problematic with everything, this fear and this and this and this, fear of aging, the woman problem, the pain with being called names, all of this is part of this package. If I didn't talk about this, then how can we help anyone else? Because I know for a fact that everyone is afflicted with the same thing in some form or another. Men on the other side of the river, with their issues, with this trigger, with that kind of message they got from their parents. The women on the other side with their message. The rift between men and women, the river between them, grows wider and wider and wider. I see this on the internet. I see this with very deep sadness. The distrust is growing. Men that don't even want to get involved with the woman. They don't even want to talk about something other than the sexual pleasure and all of this. As long as they stay only with the sexual pleasuring, then they feel safe. They feel like they don't reveal anything about themselves. They don't, you know, it's not getting scary where they can be hurt again, where the woman could say, oh, he's whatever, and dismisses him or whatever. Some women do this out of their own pain, but if you are not vulnerable, you will never have the chance to connect with someone who is serious. So we have to maybe fail a couple of times before we can find someone whom we can trust, and who will never hurt us, who will never be using our vulnerability against us. So on either side, So same with the making the creating the therapy center. We have to the therapist has to be on eye level with the client, because everyone is a client also. Some people have more knowledge, then they can be the therapist, they can be the helper in that moment, but we're all in our own healing phase. The healing, growing, learning phase never ends. We can get much farther with it, much further, but it never ends. So it's an infinite growing and healing process, and that's good. That's not some kind of scary thought. Oh, it never ends. Some people from Germany came to the center, and they asked, I think they asked Walter, so how long have you been here? And Walter said, I've been here or someone else said, I've been here for 10 years. And that person packed up and went back to Germany, because 10 years, how much money I'm going to be spending there, and oh my God, that's not what they wanted. They wanted a quick fix, a pill popping or something, an easygoing, once a week therapy communication that doesn't do anything, that doesn't get them forward at all. It can be helpful to have someone to talk to, but it doesn't go into the depths. If you want to go into the depths, you have to commit yourself to this, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. Actually, if we don't have enough money, and people should not have to pay for this, okay? That's why I want the therapy centers, I want them to be called Help Center. Each one is Help Center. Very simple. It's very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it has to be free, and it should be governmentally supported. This should be part of the governmental health care support for all of us. Maybe we can start this in the United States, but I want to see this everywhere, in every community around the whole globe. It needs to be developed, okay? And we need people to be committing themselves to that, to helping and healing themselves. As they go with this, it's a constant commitment to healing one's own emotional problems and pain. It's a constant, for those people that had a good mother, it's a constant learning process. Either way, it's a constant learning process. But most humans had been deprived of love during their most critical years in their lives, during the first 3 years of their lives. And that pain pushes up in the most convoluted ways you can imagine later on. Battery is on empty. I have to charge it up. So, see you later. Take care. Bye.